Hey guys, Rowan here, continuing the Def Leppard Rock Brigade series discography review for Def Leppard, and actually going to be discussing about a very interesting album that that the band actually put out post the release of the album X/10. By this point in the mid 2000s, Def Leppard had gone on an excessive amount of tours, rebuilt a lot of the lost ground, reassessed everything. The band members themselves started to experiment with a lot of projects, actually, even since at different points in their career, but even try to do other things. Like Viv had his project The Clock, and he had so many other things going on. The same thing with the rest of the guys. What Leopard decided to do at this point was initially to revisit their roots, really go back to what really were the things that made them famous and really want to pick up a guitar or drum set or keyboard and really want to be on stage and sing. So what they decided to do was actually create a covers album, which was Yeah. Now, initially when I heard the title, a lot of us actually thought it was a little strange, to call the album Yeah. But and I kind of feared saying that, given the way X was or 10 was, how exactly would the album be? Now, knowing that Leopard actually adored Queen, they loved Led Zeppelin, they loved so many other great bands, I was kind of hopeful that they would really put together a good collection of songs that, would really please a lot of us, and actually add their own spin on it. Now, to begin with, it was all of them collaborating, all of them doing things. This was an album that actually featured even Phil on vocals. There was a track that even had Rick Savage singing it, but it was never included on the official album itself on a different version, which is only available in a few markets or probably at Walmart at that point. And essentially, what the band did was put together a 14-track album, which was Yeah. And the thing is, to start with the album, this is the first time the band has actually been featured in some way on an album of their own. So it has all the guys out here in different poses and so on. So which is pretty cool, and the way the whole graphic is done was really appealing. The overall packaging for this album I was incredibly impressed by, with even the CD being recorded as like a proper whole record. And the thing is that, like this. And the thing is that this was an album that actually was something Leopard was actually very pleased with, because it was so quick to actually for them to put this together. Now, for the album itself, I still today feel kind of mixed about it, because I'm not quite sure whether I really like it or I really don't. And the thing is that for a lot of fans, they did love the song set, they did love the album versions, but just going through the songs themselves, uh, the highlight tracks I'll just mention were essentially 20th Century Boy, Rock On, Hanging on the Telephone, Waterloo Sunset, Hellraiser, 10,538 Overture, and probably, Don't Believe a Word. For the other tracks which were on here, such as, Street Life, Drive-In Saturday, which I still think is good, but not quite making it, a little bit of love, No Matter, and Stay With Me, somehow didn't exactly come across as very strong tracks. Now, again, no disrespects, they come from very famous bands who have done great jobs. Leopard has done its best out here, but I was just expecting them to cover things like Queen and Led Zeppelin, maybe the Rolling Stones, and maybe The Who, and maybe some of the other bigger bands, but you don't see any of that out here. You have instead a collection of tracks from another set of bands which equally deserve a lot of respect, but I just somehow felt as a fan and wanting to know and how much they spoke about all these big bands and how much they meant to them and how they were the biggest influences. It was just surprising they didn't really cover them. Rick Savage did a cover of Queen's song, which I think was Dear Friends, and he did an awesome job. In fact, Rick's voice is so good, I'd love to hear him sing a song by himself for the next record, the next album that they actually have coming out next year. It'd be really awesome to hear him sing something by himself. The Golden Age of Rock and Roll is again a good track. Mott the Hoople, Joe Elliott's favorite group, and so on in many ways. But overall, I just somehow felt that this could have actually had a lot more. And I would have preferred some of the songs which they didn't include here, like they did Space Oddity, they did When I'm Dead and Gone, they did Seek and Destroy, which Phil sings on again. If they had probably put that on this particular piece, it would have been really interesting to actually see, how the reaction would have been. And for me personally, I would have probably preferred those on here. But hey, that's not the way it was. This is how it is. Definitely good to check out. Definitely something to see, how their renditions are. And something where a lot of tracks will surprise you and will please you. So Yeah is something that you should definitely not skip over. It is something that you should, try and at least give a listen to and see what you actually feel. And having gone back to their roots, Leppard decided that they were going to try and then re-energize themselves and come out with something which was going to be really good. So expectations were built up again. People hoping that they would not go back to a sort of alternative or very alien type sound which they can relate to, but something which could actually pack a punch. And would they actually do that? Well, we'll find out in the next part of this series. So see you till then.